a shooting in central Moscow, which has reportedly left at least 3 people dead. These are pictures from the area. We're now going to cross live to RT's Roman Kosarev, who's in central Moscow near where the shooting took place. Roman, what's the situation?
Yes, indeed. We are right here in the center of Moscow, right next to the Federal Security Service building where a shooting occurred just after 6 p.m. Moscow time. According to preliminary information, once again, this is preliminary information. We should get final info very soon. But there were 3 shooters. They went into the reception of Russia's Federal Security Service carrying weapons, and 2 of those assailants were liquidated immediately. Meanwhile, one of those people left the building carrying weapons. He ran about 300 meters away from the building, then barricaded himself in one of the buildings here in central Moscow, and then he was killed by the law enforcement as well. At the moment, Russian law enforcement, Russian investigative committee are qualifying this as a terrorist act. Once again, this is all preliminary information. As you can see behind me, this whole area is cordoned off right now. We are receiving different reports saying that various special services teams are here making sure that nothing else is going to happen. This is a developing story. We'll get you a lot more once we receive it.
Roman Kosarev bringing us the latest there. Now we are actually going to cross as well over to RT's Maria Finoshina, who's also in central Moscow in the area, to see what else you can tell us. Maria, what's it like where you are?
Hi, well, as you can see, the city is ready for Christmas and New Year celebrations. Lights are everywhere, but today central Moscow has become a scene of a deadly attack. Again, as you've just heard from my colleague Roman Kosarev, we receive different reports and information changes all the time, as this is an ongoing story. So let me just be your eyes on the ground and tell you what is happening right now here. There behind me, behind these Christmas trees and huge lights installations, there is a building. This is Russia's Federal Security Service headquarters, and according to some reports, again not verified, this is exactly where the shooting happened, inside this building known as Lubyanka. But according to other reports, the shooting started on that street right over there. As you can see, there are many police cars and minibuses here. Some streets are indeed, as Roman just said, cordoned off, but you can see here traffic is okay. So I came here, by the way, using metro. Metro hasn't been cordoned off either. So we also hear that the operation is right now over. But again, these reports are not verified either. And right here, this huge building is one of Moscow's oldest and biggest kids stores. And as Roman said, the shooting happened at 6 p.m., the time when people are coming back from work. There are many tourists, of course, in central Moscow, so it was very crowded here. There was a moment of panic, of course, of course, I mean, such an attack could have had much grimmer consequences. Again, we received different reports on exactly what happened, but we hear that there were people injured. Not sure whether they were security officers or those who are behind the attack. So we'll keep you updated on what's going on here in central Moscow.
Maria Finoshina reporting live for us. Thank you. Now, RT's Daniel Hawkins is also in the studio with us here with all the latest. Now, we've just had both Roman and Masha there from the area itself. But what official information do we have at this point?
Well, it's obviously hard, Jackie, as you quite rightly said. It's an ongoing situation. Information coming in is from eyewitness accounts, from media reports, and bits we're getting from sources, of course, from security services as well. It's just as hard, really, to get a clear picture from the studio as it is from our colleagues at the scene, because obviously they can see the atmosphere. We're getting more information coming in, obviously, here in the newsroom. What we can say for sure, the FSB are confirming that there was multiple attackers that entered the FSB, the Russian Security Service headquarters. Around 3, we're saying. They opened fire with an automatic weapon, likely they're saying to be a Kalashnikov assault rifle. 2 of those attackers were neutralized. One of those attackers then managed to escape. He fled into the street where he fatally shot one traffic police officer. That has been confirmed. We are getting information from the Ministry of Health that at least 2 FSB, 2 Russian Security Services officers have been wounded. They are in a critical condition. They're saying they've been taken away to hospital. Now, the danger from these attackers, from the shooters, has now passed. The FSB have confirmed they've been neutralized. They're working to establish their identity. But the danger, as you again said, Jackie, hasn't passed. They are still looking for a device, some sort of package or case that the attacker may have left inside the building. The bomb squad are in attendance. They will be looking to find that package to see if it poses any danger to the public. And, of course, public safety at this stage is the priority. Live pictures coming to you now, of course, from central Moscow. You can see the sheer amount of emergency services at the scene, fire service as well. And, of course, according to eyewitness accounts, it was their quick actions that prevented more people potentially being caught up on this and being killed or injured. We can go to a grab now, show you just the panic that took place in the first moments after this shooting.
So scenes of panic there, obviously, and you can hear very loud gunshots being fired over and over, which is something that is, of course, going to shock everybody, and people screaming, "Run!" So you can imagine the panic that's ensuing there. Now, of course, today also Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, held his annual end-of-the-year question and answer session, which meant there was even more presence in the center of the city. There was a record number of journalists attending that. 1,900 some odd journalists attended that just today, just a few hours before this took place. And of course, Vladimir Putin has no doubt already been briefed on the situation, and will be hearing from him eventually.
Indeed, yeah, the presidential spokesman, Dmitry Peskov, has confirmed the president is aware of the situation, knows what's going on, and indeed he's currently in the Kremlin attending an evening, a concert dedicated to celebrating the work of security forces personnel, which take place on the 20th of December in Russia. That is tomorrow, but that evening is taking place, that celebrationary dinner is taking place in the Kremlin today, and it was just in a matter of the last couple of hours that Mr. Putin gave a speech detailing the importance of tackling terrorism and extremism. We can take a listen to that fragment from that speech now.
We need to be more active in countering extremism. It's necessary to firmly, uncompromisingly suppress provocations, calls for violence, attempts to draw people, especially youth, into antisocial, radical activity.
No, we can speculate endlessly if there was any sort of timing here, if this was all just a coincidence. What we can say, we've established, Jackie, that this is an event that is highly unusual, certainly for Moscow, for central Moscow, an attack involving several assailants using automatic weapons, targeting a high-profile target. This is something highly unusual, and speculation certainly will exist that there is something behind the timing here. We're going to have to wait, though, for any sort of official statements, though, from the security forces on the scene as they established exactly what happened tonight.